Well, welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Starts, and with me today, Gregg Hall. Gregg, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Well, brother, we didn't get to meet at the Midwest Country Music Awards, although I did get to meet your mother. Um, but you fantastic performance. You had a great. You were nominated for several awards over the weekend, of which we'll get to. But give us a little bit of a backstory. I know you're a musician. You've been at this for a long time, so we don't have to go all the way to prehistory, but give us a rundown.
I started playing music, out in the bars and stuff when I was about 18 and just doing pretty much doing the same thing since then, playing, learning, making moves, recording songs, playing in different bands. But most recently, like the last few years, I play in my own band, Gregg Hall and the Wrecking Ball, and Minnesota-based White Iron Band since 2009. So those have been my two main bands. And then I have a music festival. I own a production company here in La Crosse, Wisconsin, where I do lots of shows um, in my community and the tri-state area of Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So I am a full-time musician. I'm a full-time dad. I have two kids. Yeah, just always working, shucking and jiving.
You got it, brother. I'm coming to you live from my dry cabin at Kathmandu Campground, a big sponsor and supporter of everything that we do. And so I understand. I feel a lot of that. Same thing. I've been playing in bars since I was probably 14, 15 years old, leaving JV basketball games to go play with my dad and his band.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, a lot of parallels, a lot of parallels. As I mentioned before, I'd sat with your mom actually at the same table as your mom at the awards show. And I didn't realize she had mentioned your name a few times, but it's a pretty large community with the Midwest CMO, and I'm
Yeah.
in South Dakota, right? So we don't always, intersect with the Wisconsin crew and that vestige. So, was talking to her about the community and things that we've been doing and building. I've been a member for about the last year, a little over. And to watch how proud of you she was when you were up on stage with Megan and at your performance was touching. It was a reminder of the hidden whys to why we do what we do, right?
Yeah.
Because there are people behind us that have supported us from an early age that are still rooting for us. And it's all the motivation that's needed to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been lucky on both my parents have been super duper supportive. Probably more now since like you know, I've proven, got off the sauce, quit partying and about go almost 8 years ago. So I think in that 8 years I've accomplished way more than I did in the 20 beforehand. You know what I mean? I feel like that the sobriety stint from alcohol and hard drugs, I mean, not that I wasn't doing stuff before, but you just get a, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but my advice to anybody out there that's young and playing, don't drink if you can help it and just play songs and keep doing what you're doing. Because I felt like that was a huge crutch for me for a lot of years. I feel like I wasted a lot of years when I could have been doing a lot more. So now I find myself working overtime to make up for that. So just finding that healthy balance, maybe too, in moderation and all that stuff. So
Brother, I feel you. I was probably 20, I was in my mid 20s when it was obvious that like partying at shows wasn't going to work for me, right? Playing in a band, singing
yeah,
3 hours a night, then trying to drink whiskey on top of that, and the vocals are wrecked, and you're trying to do that 2, 3 nights a week. And so I learned like don't drink at shows early. The problem was is that I would just drink more after the show, or I would compensate for that, or to party. I'm also an addict, Gregg. The parallels continue for us in our life path, and for me, last year was really a big one where when I got out of prison, I obviously wasn't drinking or doing it, but I wasn't playing any music. And then kind of got into the corporate, factory work world. I was a welder. Oh, that I got in the habit after I got in, off of parole was to come home, crack a six pack of pounders and just fed into this sickness, right? And last year had the calling
Yeah.
to get back into music full time and to be doing what I'm doing now. But a major factor in that was quitting the habit of drinking. I didn't, I'll have a beer occasionally, but I was in a habit of coming home and drinking a six pack of Pounders of Miller Lite every single night of the week,
Yeah.
twice as much on the weekends. And that's just not conducive to being a successful human being, much less a musician who's trying to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it as a business owner.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just it's a cycle that you don't want to, like doing the same thing over and over, and then expecting a different result. I mean, that's the definition of insanity, and I feel like when people get stuck in that cycle of weekend warrior, go to work, weekend warrior, go to work. I mean, nothing, you're doing stuff, but you're not growing, you know. And I feel like I was caught in that for a long time and, you know, being envious and making a competition with other people that were doing something where it's just, no, I'm just insecure and I could be doing more. And that, so that's not healthy either. But just, but now it's like with the Midwest country thing, like seeing so many people rooting for each other and stuff kind of gave me a resurge of, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. And my sound is nothing like a lot of those bands that played. So just being included, and I'm an old guy. I don't know how to do I suck at Spotify and that stuff. Like if you look at White Iron Band and Greg Hall and the Wrecking Ball, I mean, there's a serious catalog of a lot of songs that probably won't see the light of day. Hopefully they will, but you know what I mean? Because trying to keep up with that stuff when you're in your 40s is a tough deal.
Yeah,
But
I'm with you. I just learned how to do YouTube. I'll turn 39 next week, and even though we won the Content Creator of the Year award, a lot of our stuff wasn't even going onto YouTube until like January of this year. So I've really spent the last 4 months digging in, and a lot of it is just consistency. And it's hard to be consistent when there's 37 platforms that you have to post to, and like there's still only 24 hours in
absolutely.
a day, right?
Yeah.
So what I've found and success for me has been to just dedicate to the one, right? I'm not making any money from Spotify. It's not helping me get any gigs, so I pretty much pay zero attention to it. I have some songs up there. I use a service that's free to distribute my
Yeah.
music called One RPM, ONE RPM. So I don't have to pay to maintain that, which kind of takes something from it. Where a distro kid, you're paying monthly for it, you feel obligated to be using it, right? To be putting out music
Yeah.
and to be doing things where I have a different relationship with that side. But for YouTube, we've seen a massive growth in our views. I know TikTok is really big on this. We're probably a little too old for TikTok, but I
Yeah.
know that it's a massive tool for up and coming artists because the algorithms there are feeding people new things, right? They are feeding
Yeah.
that where, old guys like us. I use Facebook pretty regularly as a networking tool, but as a promotional tool, it's pretty weak. It's great to find groups. That's kind of
Yeah.
how I found the Midwest CMO. Brad Morgan had a lot to do with that as well. But I would love to know your take. This was you've been a member for a short time, I'm assuming. You picked up a bunch of nominations. Talk about coming into the Midwest Country Music Organization, as a new member and what it kind of means to have now a community around you where I don't know if you've had that in other places before.
No, no, no. I think it's great, and I felt welcomed right in. Like even the first year, they asked me to perform a few years ago, and I think our band got like band of the year, and no, it was great for me. I mean, I was honored. It's hard to, as a musician, like, am I any good? Do people like it? I don't know. So it was cool to get a little bit of recognition, like, hey, people are noticing that you're doing stuff and you're doing a good job. And I'm a big firm believer in the law of attraction, and I've been making better decisions in my life, and all these good people like yourself and they're just gravitating towards me, and I really feel like um doing good things. The right people are coming and hearing me and seeing me, and that's great. And I'm super grateful and appreciative of it. And I'm meeting guys like Corey Waller. Like for Corey Waller came up to me and said, "Hey man, I love your band. We listen to you all the time." And for which I thought was pretty cool because he was the songwriter of the year and he won all like, wow. I'm like, really? I'm like, holy cow. Thanks, man. He's great too. So yeah, it kind of pumped me up a little bit to keep going, keep putting out new stuff. And I met people like Megan and the Birdwatcher, and we've been doing shows now for a while and became good friends with her. And we recorded a song. And, it's just that seminar that Ari guy gave too, like it was eye-opening. So I'm super grateful for PT and everybody that's involved in that because it's a lot, it's a huge undertaking. So um, I'm just happy that somebody's out there trying to root for guys like us and girls like us.
No,
So
I
I
was
drink a lot of coffee and babbling.
No, you're good, man. That's why we do podcasts and not 3-minute TV interviews like I did yesterday on a local news station. Uh, but being on that news station and then also being a member of the Midwest CMO and getting to know this crew over the last, 14 months or so, is the reason why I started a podcast. Like I launched this podcast because I saw a community that needed the service, right? They needed this thing. They needed more people to talk about them, right? Like, okay, the award show is great,
Yeah,
but what are we doing the rest of the 364 days of the year? Right? Like, what are we doing
yeah,
to up
absolutely.
this songwriting community? It's why I started my own community, the Midwest Original Music Organization, to open the doors to everyone. Seeing the benefit that, the
Yeah,
CMO has brought to my life has allowed me to where, like, I have things that I can educate people on, and my small community around me, while all of them don't necessarily feel as members of the Midwest CMO, like that's okay. We can form our own little group here. And I think what you're going to see are a lot more regional kind of associations and organizations like this in the future as things like the Midwest CMO continue to grow in their popularity and in kind of their that universe grows. I think there's room for a lot of this. It sounds like you have a community around you in La Crosse that you've built with your production company and all these things that you kind of already have that in your city.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my community is super supportive. I mean, I grew up here, and I tell you what, it's the most beautiful place on earth, the Driftless area. There's really not much that can compare to it. Um, So I've stuck around, and like like for instance, I wrote a song about Holcomb, Minnesota, this little town down the road. So, and I know a lot of people that live there. It's kind of this funny called the Holka Polka. Being from Wisconsin, I've written hundreds of songs, never wrote a polka. So it's a true story about this little town, and so I went right to the mayor and I said, "Hey, Lee Tippery is his name, really good guy, and like, hey, I want to do this show." And he knew me. His son was a guitar player that played in a band with my son's uncle, years ago. And the whole town is just amped. It's this Sunday, May 4th, 2 p.m. in Hoka at the ball field. And so this huge support from this little community, this little hippie town. It's beautiful. There's a waterfall that goes right through the downtown, and I put out sponsorships. I'm doing everything for free. We're going to film a video for the song Hoka Polka. So, I mean, just doing these things for the community to try to build something. And then same with my festival. My nickname is Cheech around here. Dees Fest, because as you know, I mean, you're a musician obviously too. Trying to get into these festivals is hard. No matter how many Midwest country music or nominations, whatever songs, like a lot of it is about who obviously. and what you do on your and a combination of a bunch of things. But bottom line, it's tough because you think about they probably get thousands and thousands of requests by bands. So, and I know that in La Crosse County, we have a lot of amazing musicians per capita. Like it's got to be some kind of record, like, and just the Midwest in general. So I created this festival just to help people like me and you who aren't quite at that status yet. We're it's easy to get into every festival you apply to or whatever. So giving these a platform for people like us to showcase their music on a little bit bigger scale. We're not selling millions and thousands of tickets, but it's just a grassroots fest, multi-genre. I mean, this year I think I covered them all. We got blues, we got folk, we got country, we got bluegrass, we got a jam band, you know, um, so many good musicians in this little area. I'm blessed. And the community has came in and supported this thing. It'll be our 6th year. And I'm just really happy. And it's fun to watch how grateful the people are there, when they bring their kids there and it's a safe environment. They're not, it's not super expensive. Like, I mean, this weekend is free, so
And I think it's
just doing
important.
those things for your community, it goes back to about putting good out there, you'll get good back, and none of us are getting rich here. We're just having fun playing music and putting on a show. I mean, and that's what it's really all about, just creating good music, aside from the social media, all that stuff. I mean, the goal is to create good music, and and that's what we're all doing
And
from what
share
I
it.
can see.
And share it. And that's exactly what,
Yeah.
us kind of being the OGs that are still able to go out and do things now. And I love everything that you're talking about, man. Would love to be a part of Dees Fest, even
Yeah.
as just a sponsor for this year. Help you guys promote that event out there on our channel and talking about it. Even just talking about it here helps, right? So can't wait to see the
Yeah.
lineup for that. I'm gonna have you send me a flyer and we'll be helping you promote it for sure. And yeah, let's touch on your music before I let you go. I don't want to take up all your time this morning. We all have places to be and things
Sure.
to do. But let's talk about your music and kind of the future of Gregg Hall and the Wrecking Ball. You got new music coming out this year. I'm sure you're busy with a ton of shows all the time, but what does the recorded music look like?
Well, I just released 2 albums. One I recorded down in Nashville with Johnny Garcia. He's Garth Brooks' lead guitar player. We released that one, Exit 2222, in December, and then right away in February, I dropped Live at First Avenue, my first ever live record, um, which I'm super proud of. I think that's my favorite one I've ever made. It really captures as like you can't really capture the live thing in the studio, you know. And I feel like when we're live, I mean that's captures more of the essence of what my music is really about. And but yeah, like we're making a video for Holka Polka. We have half an album done. So hopefully I'm my goal is to have another album by the end of December released and maybe dropping a few singles along the way. So
So 3 albums in a 12-month space with some singles in between, organizing your own music festival, among other things. Gregg, for a very laid back dude, you sure are busy.
oh man, I play the other side of me is not laid back. You can ask my old lady and my kids. But so when you're it's hard for me to delegate duties sometimes. So I get pretty busy and pretty overwhelmed, but meditation and Reiki and all that stuff goes a long way. I think it's just like part of the recovery thing. I never went to like rehab. I just quit cold turkey and um I think I may be feeling the addiction thing with overworking. It might be my new addiction and coffee, but I suppose that better than cocaine and whiskey.
Yeah, me too, brother. Don't
But
worry. This is a cup of coffee to me, and I
yeah,
have several of these a day. And I'm like, oh, your cup
yeah.
is like 12 cups.
Um, yeah, one thing I did mention, May 17th in La Crosse, we are dropping our live at First Avenue record at the Alpine Inn. We're also doing a Steve Miller band set. We're gonna play the greatest hits as part of that show too. So that's been a lot of fun. A little bit more work than I thought it was gonna be because you think you know them songs and they're simple, but you gotta learn all the little tricks that they're
Yeah,
no slouches.
no, a lot of layers with
I
Steve
got
Miller.
Javier Trail. Yeah. My buddy Javier Trail is coming down to sit in with guitar on that one. I don't know if you've ever heard of Javier Trail, but oh
Yeah,
my
I've I've
God, he's
I've I follow
probably the
Javier
best.
online, buddy. The fact that you just brought his name up, I know you don't feel like, that you're way up here with a lot of, the musicians out there, but you're definitely respected among the music community on the wider scale, right? Working with Johnny and Javier is
Well,
is
that's
top of the line, but that's also from being in the industry for almost 30 years.
yeah, yeah, and with what and White Iron Band helped me out immensely. I mean, if there's anybody that should, I mean, if any band, in my opinion, should get a legacy award for country music in the Midwest, it's the White Iron Band. Um, I mean, they probably have 10 albums out. I bet you there's 200 songs out there. Matt Putis writes the best, you can ask bands, like Trampled by Turtles and Pertnir, Sandstone, these bands that are really big, and they'll credit White Iron Band and Matt's writing and Sammy and those guys for really setting the bar before, they've been a band since 98 and man, just some of the best country song. I like being in that band motivated me to start being more of my own original country sound, like back to my roots. Because man, if you like outlaw country music or just good music in general, the White Iron Band, just man, consistency of impressive, and I'm not saying that just because I play in the band every once in a while. Like I truly believe in, I mean, that band, yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it that always keeps me coming back. And I record one of his songs almost every album. We play a few of White Iron songs in the Wrecking Ball just because there's just so many songs. So, um, yeah, my rant is over there.
Hey, that's a good one, man. And I love your passion for other independent artists, right? You gushing over Corey Waller. They've become good friends of ours over the last year. Huge fans of their band. I mean, I was in tears watching them, not just perform, but to accept
Yeah,
these awards. I'm the guy in the back hooting and hollering as loud as anyone because it's a family. And we touched on that a little bit. This community, this family that
yeah,
we're building around ourselves every single day with our not just our fans but the other bands and the Midwest is really coming out in 2025 and making a lot of noise and myself, I'm touring all the way down through Texas for my first time this year and starting to make those connections, man. I was really for some reason I had it in my head that a kid from South Dakota couldn't do some of these things, and I am exceeding my own expectations every day as I am having my expectations exceeded by everyone else around me, including you, sir.
awesome.
Gregg, why don't you go ahead and plug anything? I don't know if you
Yeah,
got
man.
a site or anything, but go ahead and plug and I'll let you get out of here.
Well, I would just say Cheech's D's Fest, July 24th through the 26th, Bluebird Campground, 30 bands. I mean, go GreggHallMusic.com, GreggHall music.com. It's got everything. This Sunday, the Holka Jam, the inaugural Holka Jam, with Gregg Hall and the Wrecking Ball and Chiba. That starts at 2 at Legion Park in Polka, Minnesota, and May 17th at the Alpine in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Steve Miller tribute and live at First Avenue Wrecking Ball release party. So lots going on. So
Yeah, you're a
now we
busy
just
man.
gotta get.
Well, Gregg, I appreciate you being on the show with me today, and I appreciate you being part of the scene. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. And let's get together, maybe talk about doing some gigs for sure. Um, Got to get this weekend over with, and then I'll reach out next week and we'll make something happen. So
Sounds awesome, man. Can't wait.